Hey everybody, welcome back to Visual Novel Book Club. I'm your pal Slowbeef, with me of course my good friend Devious Vacuum.
What's up, gamers?
My good friend Jim.
Hello everyone.
My good friend Turbo C.
Can I offer you a nice banana in these trying times?
My good friend Oren Ronan.
Good evening.
And together, we are the studs of Shibuya.
Yep.
Listen, before we begin, I'll say something.
Yeah?
I think we've all kind of struggled a little bit with how to tell this story, per se, this chapter especially, because
and it's going to be like that for the rest of the game too.
Yeah.
Yep. I should have mentioned this before. I have a possible proposal that we can talk about at the end. But for you listeners, you might just have to wait. Dun dun dun.
Also, it took a while for us to get through Chapter 2, but the amount of notes that I have is not that many. It isn't a normal amount of notes.
There isn't that much story.
Yeah, this isn't the content isn't a lot. The gameplay is something too. Like it's more the gameplay is like you are moving around a lot more than it is actual knowledge of the characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's exactly it, I think. Yeah, I was also thinking too, like, even if we like centered on a playthrough, you know, meaning Devax because she takes notes, you know, it would probably be fine too, because then as we remember details and things like that, we could chime in with that. Wait, that can't happen and things like that because of this person and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the, like, bad endings.
Yeah, we should just try to get most of the bad endings, and then we would experience most of what's going on.
I don't think I'm good at getting the bad endings. Like, I'm having a lot of trouble with it.
Aren't you good at video games?
I am a pro gamer, is the problem. But,
The problem is it switches between, like, whether the correct answer is the one that you think is right or the one that is nonsensical.
yeah, so you can't just pick the answer you think is the worst idea every time and be like, this will be a surefire way to get a bad end, because it's, like, comical sometimes. And
It's like, oh no, you're supposed to drink the poison.
Right. Or, like, sometimes, too, then you'll have to have somebody, like, get a bad... Like, I was surprised one of them is you get a bad end as one character, but it also opens a bad end for another character without having made other choices.
Yeah, I just straight up consulted. I consulted so there is a combination of, like, it's not even spoiler heavy. It's just a combination of correct ending order with bad ending numbers linked to a YouTube video of just the ends of the bad ends.
oh, like the hint?
Well, not even the hint, just like, okay, here's the choice you have to make to the bad end. So, like, all the backstory behind it is not included. And that helped me for, like, I wanted to chase down the last two. And that was the way I did it. So that may be something we need to do going forward if we want to know those.
Yeah, in Japanese there are a lot of, like, straight walkthroughs on the net, so I'm consulting those. And they're not spoilerific, so...
How many bad endings have there been so far by the end of Chapter 2?
16.
Okay, so I only missed 4 so far, so that's not bad.
Yeah, and one was completely optional, like, you had to seek it out.
I don't think any of them are, actually, but some are harder because it's really easy to get the conditions that cause it out of the way early.
15 was it was supposed to be optional according to the walkthrough I had.
Let's get into it so we can talk about this stuff less obtusely. That's what I say.
Okay, let's get...
That's the slow
Let's get to it
way.
naturally. Yep.
Alright, so at the beginning of this chapter, we have 5 characters, and
yes.
At the end of the last episode of this podcast, we were all like, Tama, 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 Tama. So that's what I picked first. And Tama's route is the story of a girl stuck in a fursuit trying to sell diet drinks.
So before I go into it, do any of you know why she's called Tama?
Egg.
No.
It's the name of a popular cat.
And that's something that would be perfect for a tip. And I guess, I think they just didn't want to put any tips where there weren't any originally, but the game gives them the opportunity to do it. And it's something that you should know. But Tama is like a cliche name for a cat in Japan. It's like Rex. It's like Rex or Fido for a dog in English. Mm-hmm. It's just what you call cats.
I see.
Is there something like that for cats in English? I can't think of one.
Tabby, maybe. Even though, like...
Yeah, naming it Tabby would probably be the closest.
Or like naming it what it is, like whiskers or boots or something.
Yeah, so in Japanese it's Tama for cats and Pochi for dogs. It's just the cliche, like default names for cats and dogs. And I don't think it's really a human name, Tama. It may be a pet name for someone who's called something else, but I don't think that's a real name.
Yeah, it seems like, based on the way they frame it in the dialogue, she's concealing her, her actual identity.
Yeah, but that's something I think the player should know, that she's called Tama because she's a cat. And they had a perfect way to put it forward, and they didn't.
I think Kitty was probably what you would go with, actually, for that kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like something you would call a cat that's kind of like a name.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a good response if someone was just like, hey, what's your name? Kitty. Oh, that's good. You're wearing the cat costume. Yeah, I agree with that.
So, anyway, we all picked her, and Tama, who is revealed to be a lady underneath the cat outfit, is she's handing out free samples of a new diet drink, right?
Yeah.
With a pretty great name. Speaking of names.
Burning Hammer.
I'll do it then, if nobody else wants to.
Burning Hammer.
Burning Hammer.
But, like, there's, like, 9 N's in there.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's gonna burn.
Yes, so she's handing out Burning Hammer. Or she's trying to hand out Burning Hammer, and it's not going well. And this is at the time again, 10 o'clock, I think it starts at. It goes to 11, if I remember.
11 o'clock.
Oh, it starts 11, goes to 12, right? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, so in the midst of all the drama and intrigue and stuff, Tama has noticed none of this, I guess, right? And she's just handing out, or trying to hand out free samples. But then 2 people approach her, I think, right?
Yeah, and it's Sasayama.
Yeah, and she's not very good at. Yeah, she's not very good at giving out free samples. She can't find anyone to give one to.
Which seems like the worst thing to do. Like, how can you be bad at giving out free samples?
A lot of people in this chapter have to do, like, the thing that they're bad at.
Well, to be fair, so, you know, I work in, like, Manhattan, and I feel like in Times Square, especially, if someone tried to give me a free sample, I would just do that whole, like, I don't see you. Like, you just don't exist to me right now. I'm sorry. I'm going to keep walking.
Yeah, because you get conditioned by the flyer guys.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
You want to go to a comedy show? Hey, let's go to a comedy show.
Hey, you wanna burn an hammer?
Who would accept food? Like, dude, someone's just, like, hanging out, like, bottles of mystery liquid, and you're like, yeah, thanks. Like, if it's not, like, a new flavor of Mountain Dew, and you can see, like, all the Pepsi branding everywhere, like, absolutely not.
You'd be surprised.
Actually, you know, that you mentioned it, I do remember someone handing out, like, some kind of, like, caffeine drink.
Yeah.
But, like, I didn't take it, but it was, like, you know what I mean? It was branded enough where you'd say, like, I don't think that's, you know.
I have 100% picked up anything that someone says, like, oh, it's a new energy drink. I'm like, can't get hurt to swallow whatever the stranger's giving me.
On my college campus, people would hunt down the energy drink trucks.
Yeah.
That would
I'm
just
sure.
swing by, so.
Yeah. I think a diet drink, though, I would never do. You know what I mean? That sounds like you're asking for trouble.
Also, it sounds like you're going to be really infused with lots of stuff that would just fuck you up, which is like a lot of college students would just drink that right off the bat.
Look, just a masked figure approaching you and telling you to drink these mystery chemicals. I don't see what the problem is.
I have to say, there probably is someone who'd be like, I always trust a cat person, you know? Like...
At TwitchCon.
There you go, yes.
So, Tama is approached by some characters from the previous chapter, the detective Sasayama and another guy, and there's a choice of who to give the supplement to, and that this will affect the future. But overall, that's it. So you either give away one or you give away none, and then Tama looks across the square, and her coworker is a girl in a chicken suit who's named Cheery.
And she was doing much better at handing out samples.
Yeah, and she's like going up to like groups of like women and girls and like high school girls and older women, and is like, "Don't you want to try this diet supplement?" So like people are actually taking her samples, and Cheery is kind of aggressive to Tama, and she's like, "Come on," and she's like, "Oh well, if you can't give yours away, you just give them to me. I'll drink them." And she's like, all of them? And she's like, yeah, I need to lose weight. It's fine.
But, like, and doesn't it, like, if she gives away all her samples, like, she gets extra money or something like that?
Well, that's just kind of the job. She's expected to give away all her samples.
Or not extra, rather. Yeah. Like, she has to give them away to get paid or something.
And Cheery is the game's way of doing a lot of fat jokes, which is not that good, but...
No, and also as soon as we go to, when she gets out of her suit, they do the boom with the, like, hey, just in case you didn't notice, she's fat.
And they keep doing it through the rest of the chapter.
It's really just, like, a little bit, like, that's too much.
Oh, Shibuya scrambled. How... Scrambled? Excuse me, scramble.
How do you like your eggs?
I mean, all in all, I think she's a good character and stuff like that. It's just, it is an unfortunate thing.
It's I like her, but I like Cheery, and I'm sad that the game doesn't seem to like her as much as I do.
Yeah, all of the characters in Tama's Route I am a big fan of, like, as a whole.
Yeah.
Oh, my favorite characters in Tama's Route.
So the central part of this hour is that there is going to be they're in this like office building that has a bunch of different offices in it. I think it's called the Nokane building, and they're gonna have a sales demo there, and for Burning Hammer, and Cheery and Tama have to help with the sales demo, and and the first time you go through it, if you haven't played anyone else's route, they go in. Well, I guess we should talk about like the whole thing. So they go in to like take a break, and it's time for the sales demo, and later on, and they're talking about it, and they like take a break to eat, and Tama can't get her suit off.
Mm-hmm.
And
like the zipper doesn't work, and apparently the zipper is connected to both the head and the body.
Right, so she can't get out of the costume.
Yeah. So they're like waiting, and so basically like there's a bad ending here where they're like waiting for the boss to get there to help, and he doesn't make it. Like they look out the door, and he's being carted off by two guys he owes money to.
Loan sharks, I think, right? They even say.
Yeah, loan sharks. And you can like highlight the word loan shark, and it like it gives a very goofy explanation of what a loan shark is.
Yeah, I just want to say that I kind of like that the woman character that's playable is both in a cat costume, apparently for the rest of the game. So she's not played for like sexual appeal at all. Mm-hmm. And she's also the comic relief, which is also rare for a woman character. And I kind of like that.
I mean, yeah.
Tama is also a huge baby. Like I cannot tell if like she is like, it took me a while for me to be like, is she like actually like medically not doing well in this catsuit, or is she just complaining constantly? And then it became clear that she was just complaining constantly. Like she's not gonna die of hunger or pass out or anything like that. She's just whining.
It can get very hot inside of those costumes.
Oh yeah, for sure. But it's just like, I was like, is something bad gonna happen to this character? But nothing bad. It's just not. It's a joke. So I was able to relax.
Yeah, not during this playthrough. Although what we do see is like, so the boss, who is Mr. Yanagashita, basically starts playing out in a Yakuza cutscene. Like, it's just like, that's exactly what this game is at this point. Like, these side points are just like, yeah, we're just going to do that. We're just going to totally crop from, this is what we're putting in here. It's really good. Like, it made me laugh a lot, because it's just like, they just insert that into the whole playthrough, which I just enjoyed. And I like, the more this game does it, which they do it some more during this chapter, is pretty much a lot of fun.
So do we just want to go through Tama's route, like, entirely?
Yeah, because there's not a lot of spoilers for that, yeah.
Like, when I hit the bad end, obviously I had to, like, go to another route and try to figure out what I was supposed to do. But, like, it's confusing to just jump around everywhere, so...
yeah.
But basically, after you go fix the bad end where he gets hauled off, then instead he comes and talks to them, like Jim was just talking about, and he gives he gives both of them like a sample to try, and we get a choice where we can choose to like take the sample or not. And he's like, wait, before you try it, like, have you eaten something today? And Tama's like, well, I just had this whole thing of tea through my mask, so I'm probably okay. This is also such a bad idea to take it from him. Like, when you're stuck in a costume, like, what if it gave you the runs? You would be fucked. You'd be stuck in that costume. Are you kidding me? But
oh
God, such a bad idea. All diet supplements, like, so many diet supplements just give you diarrhea. That's how you lose weight from water loss.
Somebody shit in my costume. I don't know what happened.
Absolutely. Somebody shit my pants. And so he gives the warning, which like informs like a couple of other bad endings, which is like, don't drink this if you haven't had anything to eat yet. And it just becomes so funny in the other routes where the people drink it.
It really is.
Yeah, so how does
great.
burning hammer works? That's the point.
Yeah.
Why does it make you use like weight?
So burning hammer is just chili oil. It's just really, really spicy, and if you just drink a bunch of chili oil, you'll I don't know. I mean,
it makes you sweat.
Yeah,
that's why.
And also be sick.
Yeah, because I think it's not so much that it's just chili oil, because I think it's like it's very concentrated chili oil. Because if you just like taste a little bit of chili oil, you'll be like, oh, that's not good. That's bad. That's very spicy. But like if you just chug a shot of concentrated chili oil, like your intestines are gonna fuck off.
And that's exactly what happens, because they all drink it in all the other routes, and they're like, this doesn't really taste like anything. This is fine. And then like suddenly it starts happening.
Yeah.
Like Ashita's like on the toilet, like it's coming out of me like really hot and hard, like a burning hammer. Wait a minute. Sorry.
And but we oh my gosh. Oh, I should also say that when Tama tries to take the head off of the costume, she says like, oh, my head hurts, like something happened earlier, like I was hit in the head earlier, but I don't know what that is. Like, she doesn't talk about it, which makes me very suspicious that like that's how she's involved in this crime somehow. Like, I don't know if she's Maria or not, but like it very like, I hit you on the head and like put you in this costume, but then it flashes back.
There's another comment about that later.
Yeah, there's another comment.
Yeah,
when she thinks about the was it a necklace that she wants, or a bracelet?
I think it was a necklace or ring. I forget what it was, but it was something like another jewelry thing.
It's a necklace, and she's like, this belongs to me.
It also makes her head hurt, and she can't figure out why.
Yeah, and that's like her whole motivation is like she wants this necklace back, so she needs a job, and then it's like, hey, selling burning hammer is a job. I can do that. She's 100% Maria. I'm sorry. Like,
she has like these weird visions and stuff. Like, Maria.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is absolutely like they lost her, which is why now they're trying to kidnap the sister, whose name is escaping me totally.
Hitomi.
Thank you, Hitomi, to like make up for the fact that they lost her.
Yeah.
So like she got away, she got her head hit, she lost her memory, sees the necklace, which somehow got separated from her, is now being sold by this random vendor. I hope I'm not quote unquote spoiling anything, or I hope I'm not right, honestly, but like I feel like I don't know how else they would do it. Like, it's like so odd. All the pieces are there, in my opinion.
To be perfectly honest, I don't know how else you would come out from this chapter without getting that assumption. So if like the game didn't think people would get that assumption, it's like that's a failing on the game's part.
That's the thing. Yeah, that or there's some huge misdirection, in which case I'm gonna feel really dumb.
Either they're going to follow through on it and it's gonna work, or it's a misdirection and that'll work. But otherwise, it's a failure.
Yeah, otherwise, like, it's being played for, like, a later twist, which is, like, kind of ridiculous, in my opinion.
No, we got it, bud.
Maria is totally cheery.
And so, yeah, the flashback is basically just that she really wanted this necklace, and she needs, she, like, had $200, and she needed $200 more in order to buy this necklace. And so she took this job from this guy who just like ran into her on the street and was like, "Won't you put on this costume and help me? I'll give you the money. I'll give you like I'm sorry, I wrote in my notes $100 instead of 1,000 or 10,000 yen, however many,
right.
10,000 yen." It's basically like if she goes through the whole sales demo, then she'll make her $200 so she can buy the necklace. And
he offers her $100 for the work, and then she said she needs 200, and he says if she sells 100 bottles of this, then he'll give you a bonus of another $100.
Right. And the thing is, even during those scenes where he's making that offer and she's not yet in the cat costume, like the camera is purposefully like not pointing at her face, like it's being like obscured in sort of comical ways, which again is leading me to say like this is Maria and the game doesn't want me to know yet.
Yeah.
Because again, and another strange thing on the game's part is she's twins with Hitomi, which means the second you would see her face, you'd know right away.
Yeah.
That's my first assumption right away.
But we didn't talk about Yanagishita's business plan for.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
His business plan to bankrupt himself.
Oh.
He bought 300 bottles for essentially $300 each, and he was planning to sell them.
Yeah, and to make a profit, he needs to sell each tiny bottle for $150.
Yeah.
which is where the game makes a couple of jokes about that should be impossible, but you can never underestimate how much that product sell for.
Yep.
So
Which is
yeah.
good. It's a really good joke. Just in general, like that's a fun joke.
But yeah, Yanagishita is great, and I hope he succeeds. But so then that's the end of Tama's chapter. Like then it's been an hour. Like she like flashes back and is like, okay, like this is how I got myself into this mess. I have this mysterious head pain, and like that's it. To be continued.
Mm-hmm.
So that's an hour of Tama, and that was all we. There's still a lot of unanswered questions.
It was a good hour though. Like it's very like apart from the whole like hey we're gonna make fun of fat people like parts. Like it's a very like it's a comical hour of experiencing that playthrough.
Mm-hmm.
So the next character that I played after that is I just went back to Kano and to because he was kind of in the middle of something.
I actually did go through all the new characters first, but
oh yeah, Achi was about to be shot, so that's probably more pressing.
I tried all the new characters first and then went back to them.
Yeah, I started with Kano because I was like, yeah, we were doing stuff with them, and then I realized everyone was probably starting with Tama.
And this can really affect which bed dance you're getting, which character you start with.
Yeah.
So let's talk about Kano, because that's the next person that I picked, and that's the next person I have in my notes. Also, Kano's route takes an unexpectedly humorous twist in this chapter. So when we last left Kano in the last chapter, everyone got away. The guy with the suitcase drove away on a motorcycle. The other guy, the like vaguely Eastern European threatening man, got away as well. And he's feeling down and out. And his boss is like, we gotta keep going. You all have to find the guy with the case and keep tailing him. And so they find him, or they're looking for him, and they're gonna keep tailing if they find the guy with the case. And as he's gonna do that, he gets a call from his girlfriend Rumi, and there's all of a sudden this big story drop where Kana wants to get married to Rumi, but her father has never even so much as like give him met him. Like he never never liked him, like never even met him in person. And now finally today, his father
and Kano went all the way to Nagano, which is a long way away from Tokyo, to meet her father, and he just turned him away without even seeing him.
Yeah. So he's like, it's hopeless, and she calls and she's like, my father is here with me right now in Shibuya, and we're gonna go. He's ready to meet you at this cafe, and
we should say when he asked the dad before, he's like, my daughter ain't marrying no cop.
That's later. That's when he actually talks to him.
Oh, I thought it was the first time he talked to him.
No, he doesn't get to talk to him the first time. He just, basically, the dad refuses to speak to him, but later on he learns about the fact that the dad used to be a cop.
Right now he just gets a call from Rumi telling him to come to that cafe because her father wants to meet him, but she basically tells him that finish your work first. You don't have to come straight away.
Yep.
Which is reasonable. He is in the middle of a kidnapping investigation.
Yeah, and but you have the choice of like, do you want to try to get over there, or do you want to like keep with your investigation?
Job?
Yeah, with your job. And so I had picked, we'll go see the dad because I thought that's a bad idea, right? But it doesn't mess up Kano's route. It messes up Minorikawa's route, the reporter. Which is that he stops the cab that Minorikawa's in, and it makes him late to the whole thing that we'll talk about in his route, where he has to stop the publisher from committing suicide because he's bankrupt. But I was kind of, when I played through this, I was kind of surprised that the game like allowed me to make that choice and didn't immediately be like, that you're shirking your duty. But really, you have to not shirk your duty. In the end, you just don't mess up Kano, you mess up someone else.
Yeah, there are a lot of these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, if you start with the Minorikawa, you get that bad ending. So the game always assumes that you pick the worst choices if you didn't get to them yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because I did Minorikawa next, and I got stuck immediately on the fact that Kano...
It's actually kind of interesting how it works, because, for example, later in Minorikawa's story, you get a choice that can make a bad end for Tama.
Mm-hmm.
But if you play Tama first, you don't get that bad ending because Minorikawa has a bad ending himself that's before that. But if you pass Minorikawa's bad ending, and then you play Tama, you do get that bad ending because it assumed that you made that wrong choice with Minorikawa, even if you didn't make it yet. It's all very complex, the way it works.
Mm-hmm. It is interesting.
Well, it just, if it's null, then it's also wrong, right?
Like, this game doesn't want you to have a prime route that you can just, like, quickly slip through to get through, like, all these characters. It wants you to get into the details of the characters.
Yep.
Yeah, and when it can't do that, it goes to the jumping thing. When it can do it with bad endings, you have to find a jump point to continue. It just doesn't want you to go through the entire chapter with one character without switching.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically, either way, either thing you pick with Kano at that decision point, he ends up seeing a guy with the attaché case heading back, but he's heading back towards Shibuya, and so he keeps tailing this guy carrying this briefcase full of money. And I mean, who knows what's in the briefcase at this point, honestly. But he keeps tailing the suspect. He gets on a train, and then when you're on the train, a mysterious stranger walks near the perp, and he has like an identical briefcase, and he's talking on the phone, and he's like, yeah, 225 pages or something like that, and 225 is the police code for kidnapping, and so Kano's like, oh, this guy, he might be in cahoots with this other guy, they might be about to do a swap, but then they don't, and the guy walks away. And I like that you get the option to either like look away to try to not look like you were staring, or like stare even harder. And if you like both ways, it's the guy kind of just apologizes for being rude, but I really like the stare even harder one, because the guy's like, oh, I'm sorry for being on my phone in the train, that's very rude of me.
He's very rude of him.
It
is. Thank you. Yes.
One of my favorite jokes of this whole chapter, then Kano goes back to just like waiting, and then suddenly the camera pans over and you just see like an anime girl t-shirt.
It's so good.
And it pans up and it's Sasayama in an otaku costume.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think we can talk about it yet, but there's a convoluted bad ending you can get here based on what Tama did.
We can talk about it. It's good.
Okay. So Sasayama is one of the people that Tama could have tried giving a bottle of Burning Hammer to, in which case he'll just say, oh, okay, thanks, and takes it, pockets it.
No, he doesn't want. No, he doesn't. He wants to give it back to her, but all she does is like dance as like,
That's right.
it's me. I'm not gonna acknowledge you. And then he's just like, oh fuck it, I gotta go.
This is also great because the like little tooltip that you get when you talk to Sasayama has a little video that shows his other costume ideas.
Oh my god, they're so good.
And one of the costume ideas is hard gay, which is very funny. Like a leather, like a little romper and a hat, and but it has like, it starts with like Santa Claus for the holidays and like all these other costumes.
But it's also Santa Claus with a badge that he can whip out to be like, hey, guess what? I'm Santa Claus, the cop. You're prosecuted. Go to jail.
Oh my god. I love that there's a little video. I like all the ones with little videos are great because the videos are never necessary and they're all very good. So if you gave Sasayama the burning hammer, then he gives Kano the burning hammer now, and Kano's like, oh thanks, I didn't have breakfast. And then he drinks it and he fucking trips the fuck out. the like shot.
That is also the default situation if you did Kano first, which is
if you just click on him, it's just like, I'm a whiny anime boy, and oh no, I got too much chemicals in me. I'm gonna be freaking out.
And so there's a bad ending there, which is great. Every bad ending where someone drinks Burning Hammer, anytime someone drinks Burning Hammer, they die instantly, except for Tama, which is very good.
Or is impacted by someone drinking Burning Hammer. Like there's all the Burning Hammer endings are great.
Yes, they really are.
So
Burning Hammers almost really is worth the price of admission for comic effect.
I kind of want to drink some now. I mean, it's gonna be bad for me, but I want to try it.
Straight chili oil, right? Isn't that what it really is?
That's what they said, but it's probably more.
There must be more. All right.
I mean, you could just drink hot sauce.
So if you don't give Sasayama the Burning Hammer, though, this doesn't happen.
But we also, I also don't know if we get to see the tooltip with the special costumes. I don't remember. But anyway, they're on their way, and it says like next stop Harajuku. So they're going. They go to a stop, and then they get off the train, and then the man gets back on the train and goes back to Shibuya, and they're like, what? And he's like, what? What's going on? And they go. So the criminals are kind of like giving them the runaround, it seems, but they can't stop tailing this guy because that's their assignment. And then we get interrupted by Leland Palmer, who shows up and wants to talk to us.
And that doesn't affect anything. You can talk to him, or you cannot talk to him, and it doesn't affect anything.
Also, you talk to him, he's useless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
I feel like there's a few choices like this in this chapter where it doesn't really matter. That bugs me, but yeah, whatever.
So you can talk to Leland or not talk to Leland, doesn't affect anything, and he doesn't have any new information. And then Kano gets a call from his boss Kuze, who says that they have identified the guy who first got the case, the ambiguous Eastern European threatening man. And they're like, he's like a terrorist guy, and he's done all the bad things that you can do, which is very 24.
Yeah.
And they know who he is, and then to be continued.
Yeah, we skipped his phone conversation with Rumi's father.
Oh, right. Sorry, I did not write that down.
Which happened at some point.
Yes, on one of the versions, he talks to...
Apparently, Rumi's father takes her phone while she's in the bathroom and calls him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because he sees the number from her, and he's like, it must be important, because she knows not to call me again, and it's the father. He's like, you're not even going to meet me here in Nagano, then. Yeah,
and to reveal that her father was like a cop, but he retired for some reason, which they don't know why he retired. And then that's where he tells him that he won't allow his daughter to marry any cop. And apparently the only reason he even became a cop was because he wanted to marry her. Because she respects her father so much.
Wow.
No dick dictum for that one.
Yeah, the dick dictums are gone. That was like a chapter 1 thing.
Yeah, there was a big lack of them this chapter.
Because they're awful, yep.
There are a lot of things in this game that are awful, but I love them, and the dick dictums are one of them.
Well, I think most of this game is things that are awful, but...
So that's so there's this drama with Ruby's father, and like is he gonna approve of Kano or not? What's his angle also, because surely he would respect a police officer, who's managing, of all things, a kidnapping. It's not like,
Well, he doesn't know that, right?
Right, he doesn't. Oh well, he might, right? Like because I mean, if he was formerly a detective, he might still have the channels to be privy to that information. So I do wonder about that.
Yeah, but he also could be the kind of cop who retired early and doesn't respect cops anymore. And I don't like you because you're a cop. I mean, just from a narrative standpoint, like that doesn't make sense, like a real world standpoint, because most of the cops I know respect the cops.
Yeah.
But like Breaking Bad, kind of, was that guy Mike, whatever his name is, he was kind of sick of cops by then.
I wonder.
Watch Better Call Saul.
I wonder if the dad is there of today of all days, and because he's like involved in this kidnapping somehow, right? Like, and he has to be there for some reason, and he's like, that's his cover. It's like, oh, I'll finally talk to Kano.
Yeah, and keep in mind with Achi's dad, who was being shady as hell in the first chapter, that they could all be involved.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This just feels like the kind of game where, every character will end up being involved in some way. There's no, like, extraneous characters.
Yeah.
Right.
This really does feel like one of those.
So exactly like 24.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's just 24.
I love it. It's good. This is a better version of 24. The Japanese comedy 24.
Yeah, a much better version of Chen. Yep.
I mean, so far it genuinely kind of is. Yeah.
It's got more numbers, first off.
Yeah, way better.
Yeah, there's an 8 they added. They switched around the 2 and the 4. No one listened.
Yeah. Your conspiracy seems to be checking out the further we go into this game.
I'm telling you. Barely even, you wouldn't, facts aren't conspiracies.
That's true. All right.
It is.
Let's switch to Achi. So when we last left Achi, he and Hitomi were about to be shot by the mysterious man with a cane, which seems like of all the assassins to send. I mean, I know you just have to kill a kid, but like an assassin with a cane, like who needs a cane to walk? I don't know. I can't tell if he actually needs the cane or if he's just carrying it.
I don't think he's with the rest of them. I think he's walking alone. Because he wants to kill her, but the rest of the foreign kidnappers want to take her away.
They want to kidnap her, yeah.
And he's Japanese, and the rest of them are foreigners. So I think
that's
they
true.
separate factions here.
It's also weird that Achi talks to him in he says no in English first, and then says, and then continues to talk in Japanese, where you're like, that dude's clearly Japanese. But I don't know what the game was trying to tell us there in the first two.
He looked like such a businessman. He was like, maybe this guy will respond better to English because he's a businessman. I don't know. But so just as he's about to shoot Achi, he like gets a call on his phone and he's distracted by the noise for a second, and there's like a bunch of different options that get you killed, but you hit him with a beer bottle and fight, and then Achi and Hitomi are able to escape, and they get away, and Hitomi says, we need to go to Dogenzaka, and she says that, or she doesn't say yet why, I guess.
Yeah.
And she's still being real cagey, and so Achi's like, that's fine, I was gonna go there anyway. That's where I live.
Because I'm originally from there.
Yeah. And then so they head towards Dogenzaka, and they run across the loan sharks from Tama's route, and you give them the wrong directions here, and so that they don't hit up Tama's boss in Tama's route.
It's such a good scene though, because they just give him the big old like, hey, thanks, bud. we'll see you later. Like the wave behind them as they go, completely innocuously. It's just it's a fun scene to experience.
Yeah. So they come across those people, and then they come across another group on their journey, and they come across the Studs of Shibuya gang, which is a gang that Achi started to clean up the neighborhood, and but he was usurped by the current leader, Susumu, who had turned it into like a gang of delinquents, turned it bad.
Who doesn't have a cool name like Mean Clean?
Yeah.
So one thing about the localization here, so Start of Shibuya is very good. It's a very good name. But in Japanese, they're not SOS, they're KOK. And the game actually doesn't tell you what that means right here in the tool.
Wow, really glad they didn't keep that one in the English version.
I looked it up. I looked it up online, and I think it tells you what it means later. And it's really not the same vibe as Stars of Shibuya. They translated it. They just made something that doesn't really give the same vibe. So I'm not. It's really good. I mean, I really like Stars of Shibuya. But this is one instance of a really inaccurate localization.
Yeah. So Achi has like a confrontation with Susumu, and they're like in the middle of shit talking Achi, and then Achi's like, "You talking about me?" And they're like, "Let's get out of here, guys!" And they were like hitting some guy up for money, or like threatening someone, and they all leave. And Hitomi's like, "What was that all about?" And he's like, It's a bad scene. I used to know those guys, but like it's like he gets to be mysterious. Like she's been being mysterious this whole time, and then he like is like, I have my secrets too.
I also just like there's one point where they're just talking. It's like, by the way, Susumu, we're not on a first name basis.
Yeah. Like he sees a bunch of guys like roughing up a guy in his neighborhood, and they're like, "Hey, you better not say his name in front of us." And then he's like, "Oh, did I hear you bitches talk about me?" He just saunters up, and like he's just like, "Oh," they're like, "Well, whatever, man, we're gone." And then they leave. He's just like, "Yeah, I don't like that guy."
Yeah. So the next little scene is that Achi and Hitomi come across a man by the train tracks who's like clearly doing something else, but when Achi asks him what he's doing, he's like, "Oh, I'm picking up trash." And I don't know what he was supposed to be doing, and I thought this would be in another route, but it's not.
But if you're going to lie to Mean Clean, that's probably the best lie to come up with.
Is he supposed to be doing something perverted that I just don't understand?
No, it must be preparing for something that's going to be later on.
No, he's definitely jerking it.
he's in the middle of a public area, just like trying to reach through like a fence that's around the railroad tracks.
So again, going back to my experiences in Manhattan,
The casting call for that. It's like, hey, we need you to just be a dude that's like being shifty over here. Like, oh, cool. Is my character any interest? No, he just jerks it.
The one thing I did notice that maybe what's going on here is that his tip describes him as owning a new knick-knack shop in Shibuya. Mm-hmm. And that's what the shop where Tama saw the bracelet was described as, a knick-knack shop.
Oh.
So that might be the connection.
But so this guy's lying, and Achi's like, okay, but he's like, great, somebody else gets it, and he's like really like, oh, I'm so glad you're picking up trash. Here, I'm carrying this trash with me, and like I can't carry it anymore. So here, you have all my trash, and the man's like, okay, and he just takes all of Achi's trash. And then they leave.
His reaction was like, "Hey, how do I jerk it when I am carrying this much trash?"
Yeah. So that's all we know about that character for now. And the next they just move on, and next they go to a noodle shop where the owner is this older lady who knows Achi and is like, "Oh, is this your girlfriend?" And while they're walking, also Hitomi tells Achi like the story, which is that the kidnapper said to go back to Shibuya and look for a blue van. And so that's what not go back to Shibuya, go to Dogenzaka and look for a blue van, and that's like, that's all that they said. And she assumes her sister's going to be there. Yeah, don't talk to the cops. And that there's going to be this blue van. And so then he goes and talks to the noodle shop owner and asks if she's seen a blue van. Or she like goes off and is like, oh, like Achi's like she's talking about Achi to Hitomi, and then Achi like is embarrassed, and eventually he like leans in, and it's like, look, I need you to help me out here, lady. And I just thought that was really funny.
It's uncomfortable.
The choice is funny too, because you can also be like, what was it like? You have to ask her about the blue van, and it's like, hey, noodle shop owners know everything, right? Or like, nah, she wouldn't know anything. She's crazy. I forget exactly, but
yeah. No, it is essentially that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's whether you believe her. Yeah.
Right.
So you do have to believe her, and then there's a part where you have to jump, and you jump from Minorikawa's route when you talk to Achi's dad, and he talks about that stuff. He's talking about Achi and SOS. And so to continue Achi's route after the jump, they head to sort of the square, or like to the street, and they spot the blue van. And so it is, they wait, and like there's a version where they just wait forever, and it's a bad ending. But they see the blue van, and then you have another potential bad ending where Hitomi wants to just go up to the blue van herself, and you can either say we're going to go together, or I'm going to go first, and you should say I'm going to go first, otherwise you get a bad ending where she gets kidnapped. Obviously the blue van is there to try to kidnap Hitomi. It's not that hard to figure out.
Right.
So Achi goes first, and when he gets close to the van, the guys all jump out. There's like 4 of them, and they start getting in Achi's face. And Achi, being a vigilante superhero, when this guy pulls a knife, he just kicks him in the jaw and knocks him out immediately, and it just like starts an altercation.
Yep.
And then the guys are like, "Oh, we're gonna take this guy out." But then all these people are around, and they all start recording on their phones and taking pictures. And so the guys are like, and they just leave. They drive away in the van.
It's so good. Like, it is a great scene. Like, that would happen.
Yeah, that was very funny. And so the van drives away, and Achi is like, I'm sorry, Hitomi, I didn't see whether your sister was in the van or not. But I doubt that she was. And so they run back sort of into... they run back toward where the original like place where they were in the beginning, in the Scramble. Before they do that, they so like the van drives away, and like Achi like looks across the street, and the man with the cane and the gun is there, and starts coming after them. And so they run back toward the Scramble, and the man doesn't follow them, and they're like, oh, it must be because all the detectives are... Well, they don't know that, but like the tooltip or something says like all the detectives are stationed there, so that's probably why the man doesn't follow them, because there's like 50 detectives still just all in that area.
Right.
And
but Achi and Hitomi don't know that.
Yeah, and that's the end of Achi's hour.
Mm-hmm.
So the next one that I did was Minorikawa.
Damn it.
The reporter. I know, I did Osawa last. Which
Spoiler
is
alert, not an Osawa fan.
Yeah, I know, right? But I'm a big Minorikawa fan, though.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, Minorikawa became this game's hero to me.
He's great. So we start in media res. Minorikawa riding his motor scooter down the highway. He's in a hurry because someone's life is on the line. He's very impatient, and his bike breaks down at a red light. Probably because he fucking revved the engine like a million times. And so he has to take a cab. And he's like, hurry up and get me. He has to go to the headquarters of Heaven Publishing. And So while he's riding in the cab, we get a flashback to 20 minutes earlier, and he is a successful freelance reporter, which right away I was like, wow, the realm of fantasy. He's so busy and is very successful, and he's overbooked all the time and has lots of work. Amazing. And so he gets a call from the head of Heaven Publishing, whose name is Toyama, and he's like, I don't really have time, and Toyama's just like sounds very defeated, and the way he talks to Minorikawa, he finally is just like, guess I'll die then. And Minorikawa's like, what? And he hangs up the phone, and he's like, I gotta run down there because something's about to happen to this guy. And so he doesn't make it in time if Kano stops the cab, but once you get past that bad ending, then he makes it to this building. It's like all the same building.
The bad ending is that the guy hanged himself and he found himself.
Yeah, he hangs himself. So you know that he's about to hang himself.
A little dark for Japanese comedy 24, but, 24 always had a weird B-plot every now and again, too, so, whatever.
This is more fucked up because later we find out that this guy has a 10-year-old daughter that's about to come in.
Yes. Yeah. What a piece of shit. And it gets worse, but...
It is. And, let's see, so when he makes it on time, then he goes, and, like, Toyama's basically, like, about to put this noose on his head. And it's very, like, it's very fake. Like, the noose is hanging from, like, one of those ceilings with the panels that you could just push up, So, like, I don't think you could hang yourself from that ceiling. I think it would just fall down.
Probably, yeah.
So, it's, like, it's very fake looking. It's not great. Just, like, the whole vibe of it, of just, like, like, my business is bankrupt, so I'm just gonna kill myself. Like, that's not good. But the whole setup is, like, kind of fake. Also, he had, like, multiple ways to kill himself, because then his daughter shows up and she's like, here's the plastic tubing that you wanted.
Yeah, it's like... Yeah. I mean, I think they're trying to play it for laughs, obviously. It's just, like, before you're in on the joke, maybe, because, like, this Minorikawa is my second route, and I got the game as trying to be funny with Tama, and other things, obviously, but, like, it came across as, like, gallows humor, so to speak, that it didn't land right away for me. You know what I mean? I was like, this guy's just an asshole. Like, this kid's gonna walk in on this. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. And,
Put a bad taste in my mouth. Go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, it was kind of unexpectedly fucked up.
Yeah.
And Minorikawa is even like, this is fucked up, because then when he's like, Toyama's like, why are you helping me? He's like, I'm not helping you, you coward. I'm doing this for your daughter.
Yeah.
Well, the kind of situation this guy is, Togawa is called?
Toyama.
The kind of situation Toyama is in is stuff that people really do suicide over in Japan.
Not a thing you do suicide
No,
over?
it definitely is. I mean, fucked up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is sad. It's sad because, it's just money.
So the problem is that they gave out scratch cards with the latest issue, but they had a defect where you could see what was under them if you put them to the light. So they just got like thousands of winning cards that they had to pay out.
Yeah. So he's in an impossible amount of debt, and in order to get out of this debt, or in order for the, like, debt collectors to, like, not, I guess, like, kill him or whatever, he needs the next issue of this gossip rag to be done by 8 p.m. tonight. And otherwise, everything's ruined and he's gonna kill himself. And so Minorikawa is like, I'm gonna help you. And he looks at the plan for how many articles, and he's got to fill like 12 pages, and it's like he's like, this is so much. And he looks at the plan, and he looks at 3 articles, and he has to cut one, and it doesn't matter which one you pick. He ends up
and those articles are about all of the other storylines in the game, each and every one of them.
And the one that he cuts is the one about organ trafficking. Which to me just says, like, that's what the terrorist group is about. We just don't know that yet.
That's a good call.
Yeah, there's even one about the twins who won the Miss Campus competition at the university, which is obviously Maria and Tommy.
Yeah, and then there's the SOS gang, and there's also something called Shibuya Now, which has no description, and so he's like, all right, and he's very capable, Minorikawa, and very clever, and but he's like, I can't do this by myself. I need help for at least one of these, and we end up having to call the comedically hopeless reporter Chiaki Nanami, who's bad at talking to people.
Can I just mention to set up a bullshit bad ending later?
Yeah, this is the worst bad ending to find if you don't chance into it.
Right.
Because it has nothing to do with the bad ending. The choice you make here has nothing to do with. You can't foresee how it will affect the other one.
Yeah.
Right. It's basically, it's like, he says, like, I don't know if I want to call her. I should probably try somebody else first. And then he tries a bunch of other people. He sends out a big mass email, and they're all like, sorry, I can't. So then he's like, all right, I have to. So you also figure this is one of those choices that really didn't matter. But it does, it turns out. Anyway, though. We'll get there.
And a lot of the people reply, and they're like, fuck Toyama.
Yeah. Oh, that's right, yeah.
Wild. Are they wrong? Who can say?
And you can almost imagine Minorikawa being like, yeah, no, I agree, but also I need a paycheck.
Yeah.
But he doesn't. I thought
he's not doing this for money. He's doing it to save the publication. Yeah. Just so that this guy doesn't die. And so
Chiaki's doing it for money, though.
Yeah, Chiaki's doing it for money. So
Chiaki's apparently in a very bad situation.
She's this reporter who's so nervous that, like, whenever she tries to talk to people, she just, like, freezes up, so she can't do interviews, and she's, like, infamous for, like, she gave an interview one time, and she interviewed someone for an hour, and she only got as far as asking them their name. And he's like, okay, you're gonna help me. You're gonna go around outside and interview people. Or at first she's like, you're gonna go talk to this gang, and she's like, that's dangerous. I don't want to do that. And he's like, okay, then go outside and talk to people. And he's like, and she's like, are you sure? I can't do it. And he's like, you're gonna do it. And she's like, oh, okay.
Because she apparently doesn't have any money to buy food for herself. and that's why she's sleeping. She's sleeping because she doesn't want to be hungry.
One other detail I like about her, she's too shy to have a photograph taken by the game itself.
Yeah, she has no photo. That's funny. So then we have a choice as Minorikawa to either go to the Burning Hammer drink demo to get that story, or go to Endo Electronics for some other story, and surveillance camera story. And the drink demo is the bad ending,
but it's a very, very good bad ending.
It's the best bad ending in the chapter.
Yeah, so if you go to the drink demo, then he goes there and he talks to the grifter guy, and he drinks one of the drinks, and he's like, oh, you haven't had any? Have you had something to eat? And he's like, oh no, but it'll be fine. And he's like, oh, I don't know. And he starts describing, like, what he's supposed to be feeling. And he's like, first, you get really hot. And he's like, oh, I'm feeling really hot. Then you get really sweaty. And he's like, oh, I am. And then the image is, like, he, like steam shot out of his feet and, like, lifted him up into the ceiling.
Yeah.
And then he lands on the ground and he's like, I'm gonna kill you for trying to sell this to people. And he chases him around.
For 2 hours and then gets arrested.
It's great. And that's the bad ending.
That also creates a bad ending for Tama. The other side of it.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. And then, because she got arrested. So the right place is to go to Endo Electronics and talk to Achi's dad. So we talked to Achi's dad, Daisuke, who has set up. The way that it sounded more like Vigilante Justice, but it's just he has the electronics expertise to set up just wireless cameras, and a bunch of other business owners have also elected to have cameras in front of their stores to deter break-ins. which is actually sounds extremely normal.
Yep.
And it talks about how they're, like, on a LAN or something, and, like, maybe that'll come up later in the story that, like, the bad guys were using that network to surveil the area to get an idea of, like, when to strike.
Yeah, I feel like that has to be part of this. That's, like, one of those telling details.
And another important thing is that Minorikawa is nice to the cab driver. He gives him, like, $100 tip.
Yeah. And then you have the option to tell him to stay, too, right? But, like...
Oh, yeah, if you tell him to go, he comes back, and I think it changes the scene. He gives him a tip if he came back, but if you tell him to stay, then, yeah, it doesn't have a little scene where he's nice to the cab driver. But the cab driver is nice. I like the cab driver. He's a funny character.
Yes.
So, he goes in the store, and, like, Daisuke doesn't really want to talk to him. He's, like, got better things to do. But while Minorikawa is trying to win him over, please give me 5 minutes of your time, he gets a phone call from the company, like, the manufacturer of a dry ice machine that he sold yesterday, and they say it's defective and it needs to be recalled. Once it starts making ice, it doesn't stop. Which is great. And he's like, yeah, I sold it. He's like, oh, I have to call the people. I think they have, like, a performance today. And one of the people that Minorikawa is going to interview next is this theater troupe. So he's like, oh, that must be the theater troupe. So Minorikawa knows that he could tell them that their dry ice machine is defective. And, while he's talking so basically he like strong arms, Daisuke Endo to give him an interview because he's like, you don't have time to tell these people and I can do it. I'm going to write an article that you're, like, selling defective products unless you interview with me. And then he's like, I'll tell these people about their dry ice machine if you agree to do what I say. So that was funny. And so while he's talking to Daisuke about the security cameras, then he also brings up how his son Achi was involved in SOS. And Minorikawa is like, oh, I'm so good at my job. Like, this is great. I've got a lead on SOS. And then there's let's see, you can jump. There's a jump to Achi's route at that point. Otherwise, he is like basically like he gets through the interview and he's got a lead, so he's good. He's getting through all the things he needs to do. He got the quotes from Mr. Endo. He calls Chiaki to check up on her, and she's like, I'm too timid to interview people. I don't want to go up and talk and ruin people's day by talking to them or whatever. And he's like, get over it. So who knows if she'll get one interview by the end of today. I hope that one of the people that she interviews is, like, one of the other characters as they're running around. That would be funny. And that's the end of Minorikawa's chapter.
All right, now on to the dregs.
Yep, the last guy is Hitomi and Maria's father.
Yeah, and he sucks really bad. Anyway.
But the detective he's with.
It's very good. It's very good Detective Banana.
Yes, Detective Banana is very good.
So, Osawa is Hitomi and Maria's dad. He's also a director of research at a pharmaceutical company. And he also really likes J-pop. And it's very, like, I think I even wrote down in my notes, I wrote down, it would appear that Osawa is a free and childish spirit held down by things like wives and responsibilities and business. So that's his personality, is that he's, like, kind of like a childish man who is in a bad relationship with an overbearing wife. And neither of them seem to pay special attention to their daughters.
She's not the mother of Maria and Hitomi.
Yes, she's an evil stepmother. Yeah.
Right.
And it makes me wonder if his first wife died from a virus. I don't know.
He loves viruses, though.
Yeah, he loves viruses, maybe more than he loves his own daughters.
Yeah, at one point he actually poses the question, what does he love more, his daughters or viruses?
Yeah, and he's like, oh, it should be obvious, but he doesn't say what it is.
I can't believe this is the second game I've played with that's come up. I guess technically third, but that's a big thing in Resident Evil 2. Remember the guy who loves the G virus? And he's got that daughter and he injects her with it because he wants to test his virus.
Yep. That's
the fuck, Japan. I would think if anything, this would be a send up of that if they're connected at all. But
so the main thing is that all these detectives are in his house, obviously, but Osawa and his wife, like, they're keeping them out of the loop, which they've said in other routes as well, because it might upset them or they might be involved somehow. So, like, all these cops are in their house, but they can't tell them anything. And so while this is all happening, Osawa, he's a very busy man. He's got a lot of stuff to do, so he's trying to work. He's got all these deadlines. His company is not, like, giving him any kind of reprieve just because his daughter was kidnapped.
Right.
So he's got his assistant there, Tanaka, I think. And during all this, he gets a threatening email, or a mysterious email, that shows people. It says South Africa 1 year ago, and it shows people appearing to be dying of the UA virus. Is that how you say it? UA?
That's how I've been internally pronouncing it, so I hope so.
The UA, the UA virus, which is like a hyped up version of Ebola for the game, and so his virus research is on this virus, and he's been trying to develop an antiviral, and the implication of the email is that trials on humans were conducted a year ago, and he's saying, and he thinks about the virus and gives us the backstory, and basically only very recently have they even gotten to the point where they want to do trials on animals. So a year ago it super wasn't ready, so who could have possibly ordered for a trial on humans back then? And the email sender, who is listed as the letter A, seems to be accusing Osawa of involvement and responsibility for those people's deaths, but he has no memory of such a thing, and he's like, no, like, that's, how did this happen? So he decides, while he's, like, reeling from this, his wife arrives in the room. And you have the option of, like, hide the window or keep the window open. I don't think it matters because she lets herself in anyway. And so she's like, "Are you're not gonna move to America or something like that?" And he's like, so he was just in America for work last week, and while he was there, he got a job offer from an American pharmaceutical company to be able to continue his virus research there. And it's a larger company with a lot more resources, and so he's seriously considering it. But his wife is the daughter of one of the chairmen of the pharmaceutical company that he works for, and so she's like, no, you can't possibly leave. Why would you want to leave? And he's like, I don't want to leave, but like, in the back of his mind, he's like, but I could be free. He just wants to be free of responsibility.
Just me and the viruses.
Yeah.
Me and the viri.
Absolutely the worst guy. Just an absolute garbage man.
Oh, Hitomi, of course I love you and Den Gay. Hitomi.
Hitomi and the other one.
How did they end up being named Hitomi and Maria is my question. Those are such very different names.
Well, Maria is a game that you give Japanese children to.
And so he talks about, like, the antiviral that he developed, and basically that in this timeline they invented nanomachines that can administer drugs, which is, I mean, it's a real thing people talk about. It's not like not a thing people talk about. But nanomachines, we're here, folks. We're here. We found the nanomachines.
About time.
So that's what made it feasible for there to be clinical trials of his antiviral. So he doesn't tell his wife about the email, but he brings in his assistant Tanaka, who seems to be, like, his best friend or only friend, and they exchange a mysterious dialogue. And Osawa's like, I'm gonna call my boss Makino about this, and Tanaka's like, okay, I'm gonna start looking into this as well. And We learn more about the Uwa virus. It's Ebola. Well, maybe it might be important. I feel like there's no way they would talk so much about this fucking virus if this doesn't very directly come up in the story. So and it says the Uwa virus can multiply and become deadly in 12 hours.
They do specifically compare its
efficacy.
Yeah, but to Ebola, Ebola takes 7 days for you to show symptoms. This one takes 12, which is actually a point in Ebola's favor. But he points that into how devastating the Uwa virus is.
So it does make me wonder, do you think the guy with the cane is infected with the Uwa virus? That's what I think.
Oh, it might be.
And it's somehow Osawa's fault. Or, like, he blames it on him, and that's why he's trying to kill his daughter, because he's trying to get revenge by taking something away.
I do like that Turbo said that was a point in Ebola's favor. Like, that's, like, actually like a competition between the two viruses, and Ebola's winning by being more horrible.
Of who can kill the most people, yeah.
Right, yeah.
I'm very interested in the Ebola stats. Hit me up with those.
Top tier deadly viruses.
I need the ratios. The fantasy game is coming up soon, so
I too love viri.
We all had to read the Hot Zone I had to read the Hot Zone. Y'all are all older than me, so maybe you didn't.
If you haven't, it is a very good book.
We had to read it in school, and I feel like that just like that's the full understanding of Ebola right there.
Mm.
And so basically, he gets another email, and he's like, so basically 1 year ago somebody conducted these trials using Osawa's antiviral on human subjects way long before it was ready. Osawa was outraged by this, so he obviously was not involved. But it's impossible. Like how could someone have done this like completely under his nose without him knowing? And so he decides he's gonna call his boss, it's like, are you gonna call him now, or are you gonna wait and like calm down by listening to more J-pop? And he like calms down and listens to more J-pop, and then finally he's about to call his boss, and he's interrupted by Detective Banana, and I don't remember his name. It's something with a K. Kajiwara. And Detective Banana, he stops and he's like, "Sir, I want to talk to you about something." And he's like, I'm really busy right now. Just like, give me a minute." And he's like, "Okay." But like, all the detectives are kind of like, "Get a load of this guy. Doesn't care about his daughter being kidnapped. He's like too busy. He's got to work." But also, like, what else is he supposed to do?
Mm.
I mean, he seems like the kind of guy, like, even if he wasn't shitty, right? Like, either you just sit there and be worried, or you try to distract yourself by doing work because you aren't allowed to get any updates yet, right?
To be fair, like in college, I knew a guy whose like brother was very, very sick, and they weren't sure and he was like, he wanted to like study with me for an exam, and I'm like, "Are you sure?" And he's like, "I need to like get away from this," kind of, you know. You know what I mean? Like, so that's, like, it absolutely is kind of valid. It does so happen that Osawa sucks, but, yeah, under a normal person.
Yeah, but then, like, a guy who doesn't suck might also do this, so.
Exactly, yeah.
So, he calls his boss, and, the boss is, like, very aware. He's like, did clinical trials go on without me knowing? And the boss clearly, like, knows what's going on, and he says, I don't want to talk about this on the phone. I'll talk to you about it in person. So it's not clear at this point whether like the company ordered this to happen or somebody stole it and they covered it up, or we don't know who's to blame yet in this situation. But it's not looking great for this pharmaceutical company.
Right.
I think the boss he talked to is his wife's father too.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is.
I forget. I don't remember what Aya's last name is. If it's Makino, but yeah. So he's gonna meet him in person later, and then Osawa goes into the room with all the detectives, with Detective Banana, and we learn we just like his wife sucks. We can tell that she does.
They're perfect.
She doesn't care about the daughters. She just cares about the ransom money being refunded. to them.
Yeah, there's another bad ending in here, by the way. If you
Oh yeah.
do this before Achi, before you do the very first thing with Achi, where you save Hitomi, then the police get a call that Hitomi has been also kidnapped, and then he just loses it. And there's another bad ending here.
Yeah.
So we learned that Ai is not the twins' mother, and Osawa goes to meet with his boss, and Kajiwara's like, "Don't hide anything from me." And may I offer you a banana in this trying time?
Like, and then he's like, "Stop! No, I don't want a banana." I was like, "All right, chocolate bar then." And he hands him a half-eaten chocolate bar.
And then I guess Kajiwara doesn't go meet with Makino because he was like looking at pictures of his kids instead. And then he's like, "Which do you love more, your daughters or viruses?"
By the way, was there the potential bad ending I mentioned with Minorikawa that happens here?
Yeah, I think it's here or a little bit earlier. Yeah.
I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter. But
around here, yeah.
The other bad ending, which was tricky to find and kind of silly in my opinion, is that even for this game, is that Minorikawa, in his mass emails to reporters, if he doesn't want to like get the other lady to help him, accidentally emails Osawa, and I forget what the subject is, but he makes him think his kids the daughter died or something, so he like freaks out again.
No, he thinks it's another email from the person who sent him the previous emails, and that email just tells him to go to the publishing office to have it published.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
So
Sorry, yeah.
So he just goes there and then waits there for a few hours, and that's it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and you said it was hard to find, but that was one that I actually stumbled upon.
Yeah, so if you don't do that choice with Minorikawa first, then that's the default choice, so that just happens. But if you get to it without finding it, it's difficult to find.
Yeah, I thought that the email Chiaki versus random people did not affect anything, and then I go into Osawa's route, and oh shit.
Yeah, things affect things in unexpected ways.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all the routes. That's the hour. And
then the teaser for the next chapter has some fun text. Like, there's something about like, there's no way I could fit an eel in there. I remember something about like a foot-long eel.
Yeah, there's a lot of goofy stuff. This is a goofy game, and it's a lot of fun. It's not, like, great. I mean, in this chapter, we had, like, sort of a, like, not a joke about suicide, but, like, a handling of suicide that is very, like, trivializing.
It was definitely played for humor, part of it, at least.
Yeah.
And then also fat jokes. So, like, this is the kind of game that this is, right?
It was kind of laissez-faire with it, yeah.
Yeah, but I would say, like, the game as a whole is, like, sufficiently slapstick and childish that it didn't really weigh me down having to see those things. But, I mean, I think it really depends on the person playing and how much something like that is going to bother you.
I think it's like even the suicide stuff, like it's just not that funny is the problem. You know what I mean? Like he hangs up. It's like I think the joke when she brings him the rubber pipe and she doesn't know what it's for per se. Like you could probably do something with that. I think is better and that had more potential. But just like he's hanging and then his kid's gonna walk in on it and it's just like I don't like. I think it was like just a hugely missed joke personally. Or. They were like going for something. I don't know. It didn't land at all for me. I guess that's just me.
Yeah, it's not funny.
Yeah, it feels like they can't at points they can't decide if they want this to be serious or jokey. And that one was their attempt to be jokey and serious at the same time in a way, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I felt I mean, I don't know. I feel like they want this to be a really lighthearted, funny sort of tone kind of thing. And that was just like darker than that kind of humor really goes for, I guess, maybe. And then, I think to your point too, I think there is a point where I am supposed to care like what happens to Hitomi and Achi and all that. Like, I mean, obviously, I think it's going to work out okay for everybody, but, you know, maybe there's supposed to be a little tension there, like, for real tension. I don't know.
I mean, there's also, like, you know, life and death. There's a lot of life and death, people getting shot. So.
Yeah, it happens. In Shibuya.
Apparently. But yeah, it's still, I mean, it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of goofy moments. The thing that made me, like, smile and laugh out loud the most was Satsuyama showing up in the fucking otaku costume. That was so funny.
That must have been so fun for the actor, too, to just be like, yeah, you're just going to be wearing all these wild costumes, and you don't really have to do anything, we're just going to take a picture of you.
Yeah, and just the way that it pans over and up is just so funny. That was my favorite joke of the chapter. Although Burning Hammer was very good, too.
Yeah, most of Tama's chapter I liked a lot. I think, like, yeah, I was a little, like, kind of... It's hard to say disappointed in this, because it's, like, a lighthearted, funny game, but I really feel like it's super obvious that she's Maria. I mean, yeah. I mean, we already talked about it, but, you know, I'm just reiterating it, because that mad. But, also, I guess worth mentioning, too, same characters for next time.
Yeah, I was hoping we'd get the weird Burning Hammer guy as a character, but I guess he's gonna stay NPC.
I think those are the characters that we're going to get for the rest of the game. There's no new ones, I'm pretty sure.
I had a theory that, like, the jump points were kind of to cover over plot holes, per se, because, like, you can't get back to Minorikawa. No, it doesn't really work, though, because you can't get back to Minorikawa at one point without jumping from Tama, I think, when she hears the sigh. Do I have that right?
Yeah. It is not connected at all to the hint system. Is just
right. But you can't get there until you unblock the loan shark thing using Achi. The thing is, like, had you not done that and they take him away, Minorikawa's choice to go to Burning Hammer won't make any sense anymore because the Yanagashita's not there. You know what I mean? So you can never...
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, the jumps kind of make it... Like, you don't need to go there to complete Minorikawa's story, which kind of screws me up a bit. But that said, like, I feel like the jumps are there to spackle over parts where it's like, oh, this can't make sense because this part can't happen first.
Yeah, when there's conflicting bad ends, so they gate one of them behind the jump. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
I really do actually love the jump timeline. Like, the whole system of this is really fun.
It's probably weird to hear all these stories linearly like this, because, like, the game, like...
You are not meant to...
No, yeah, it shuffles them all, like, around and stuff, you know?
Yeah, but... I don't know exactly if I like jumping around as much as you do in this, like... Because it definitely keeps it light, right? Because you're jumping around and you're, like, losing context all the time. So, I mean, it's not that hard to keep, like, 5... different stories in your mind, but it's not easy either, and it kind of like keeps it light. Like, there's not as much emotional impact because I just had to like jump around and hear like 3 different stories and then come back to this one.
It does make it very easy to jump around. The timeline works great. I mean, you have a jump point in every selection you can make, and then you can go back and forward really fast in the text to read it.
Yeah, that is nice. It took me a minute to like figure out how the scroll works on my controller, but I figured it out. In my mind, I was like accidentally... I didn't even realize that I was pressing the wrong button, but I was pressing up instead of down because flight controls, I guess, and I was going backwards, and I was like, this isn't working.
Yeah, and it marks where the jump is. If you pass by a jump and you don't want to do it straight away, then you can go back to it with the time chart. It's really nice.
The only thing I wish this game had was just like a log of things that were said, because maybe Fata Morgana spoiled me, but there are times where I just like, wait, what?
The backlog? There is one. There's a backlog.
There is?
Yeah, if you press down to skip. If you press up, it goes back and you can see the backlog.
Yeah, it's not just a backlog; it's both back and forward log. You can go both back and forward if you already read what's coming next.
Yeah, it's a little more obtuse than usual, or, well, it's not in the place you'd expect, I guess, you know, but yeah, it's there.
Yeah, you don't have to replay the, like, slow, like, slow text if you ever read anything. It's all in a back and forward log.
All right, well, that's Banana Detective for you.
Yeah, on next episode of Banana Detective, we're going to read Chapter 3.
Dick Dictum's Banana Detective.
Is that it? Are we good? 5 characters?
I think we're good. Yes.
Alright, see you next time for the next thrilling chapter of 428 Shibuya Scramble.
Dun dun dun. Beep! Beep!
I know what you mean.